Alderman Montello.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. There are no public comments tonight. Hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
I'll second.
Just want to make a comment on the donations. J.D. Smith donated $1,000 to the NRPD K-9 Fund. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. First item, old business, direct sellers and mobile food establishment fee schedule.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At the last council meeting, we reviewed an ordinance update for direct sellers and mobile food establishment. At that time, a resolution was presented on different fee schedules separating the two. Council requested that I bring it back with some more information on the surrounding area and also what local business owners have said. So I shared that in the packet. As you can see, we are a little higher than the area, but public safety reviewed that and they felt it was fair based on the amount of staff time put into those applications that we receive. As far as the restaurant owners that I spoke with, none had a strong feeling on the price that would be associated with a mobile food establishment, but they appreciated our ordinance that doesn't allow them to be on city streets or in parks. So in general, they don't want a food truck parked outside their restaurants, which our ordinance already calls that out. Any questions on that?
Questions at all? Hear a motion to approve the new fee schedule.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Take the roll, please.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Breeze?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Gartner?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert? Alderman Montello?
Motion passes. Next item, forms of government.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This item of business is a continuation from our most recent work session meeting. Included in the packet included some background information. This is actually the same information that was included at the work session meeting. Just some general background information about the mayor-council form of government and the council-manager form of government. And in addition to that, since our last work session, staff had prepared an informational video. This is probably a more maybe complicated topic or something that maybe the public isn't very well versed in. So we thought it'd be beneficial to have something that was short and more simplistic for folks that they could just watch if they really want to understand some of the pros or cons of both forms. From a process standpoint, I also identified in the memo if the council did want to move forward with a change, what that all entails. And this isn't just a simple one motion, it changes. There's a process with this being a charter ordinance amendment. This would be a similar process if you recall a couple of years ago when the council changed the length of term from 2 years to 3 years for the alderpersons. So there's a public hearing, there's a 60-day waiting period, so it does take time to go in effect if the council wanted to make a change. For this evening, I identified 3 possible actions. One is to take no action at all. So if this is something that you don't want to discuss further or aren't looking to make a change on, we will go on to the next item of business. It doesn't take a motion to keep doing what you're already doing. Now, if the council wants to have more discussion, you could move to postpone further discussion to a future meeting. A lot of times, people think of it as a motion to the table. Usually the motion to the table is used incorrectly, probably 99% of the time. Usually what we're meaning is we move to postpone because we want to talk more about this and we want to say we're going to pick a day or time. So it's at the August work session or September work session, where typically a a move to table would be if there was something more urgent or pressing. If the power went out here in the building, we just needed to end. Another possible option for consideration for the council would be to move forward with a public hearing. That doesn't commit the council to changing or not changing. That process is required in order to change the form of government, but it doesn't commit the council to actually doing that. So you could have a public hearing in August or in September, and see what the public thinks, and based on some of that feedback, then from there determine what next step you want to take. And so those are three possible actions that the council could consider on this. From a staff perspective, it's really just looking at what direction you'd like to go. So again, it could be no action at all. It could be, let's discuss this more at a future meeting, or it could be do a public hearing, let's see what the public thinks, get this out there for discussion, and then talk about it again at a future meeting.
So if I wanted to make a motion to just stay status quo, how would that work?
I mean, you certainly can. I mean, otherwise that would be, if you want to make a motion to keep the current form of government, you could
Yeah, I would like
do
to make
that.
a motion to keep the current form of government.
I'll second it.
Yeah, further discussion?
It is back. To have a referendum. And the fact that we would allow the public to come in. It's baffling to me because if we make a motion to have the public hearing, we're not committed to doing it. What form of government serves them best?
I've asked a lot of people.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about at a meeting. Be honest with folks, the public who are listening right now.
You're telling me right now that I'm being dishonest
No, we're
with
gonna get to
folks.
that. We're gonna get to that. Why don't you tell them the reason why you're not in favor of this that you
I've expressed them to you.
you haven't.
I don't think
this
there's
you
a-
didn't express to
I
me
honestly
about-
don't think there's a good reason to do it.
Okay, you're not interested in even investigating.
I've investigated it plenty
No,
with people that I know, and
investigated it with the people in this community. Everybody I asked said, yeah, I hope you guys investigate that. They're apparently really different folks from the ones I talked to.
apparently.
It's baffling to me that people.
Okay, it's
don't
baffling
want
to you. You said
ask
that.
this question.
It's baffling to you.
Everybody, the reason you're opposed to this.
I just
is
said
because
that. You don't have a-
members on the council, Mr. Freeze and I, because we're in favor of investigating this, that's really.
No.
Well, that's what you.
I don't know what the investigation is for.
That's what you
That's
told people.
100 years of, maybe more, of the same type of government, and I don't have a good reason when I tell people this of why we're changing it.
So what's the fear of asking the question in a public setting?
That's like I said, I have.
No,
Not in a public setting, no, you're right.
So what's,
There's no fear.
then why not? Why would we
I made
shut
the
down-
motion,
why
and
would
it's
we
been
shut-
seconded.
I'm asking you, why would we shut down debate on it?
I've already talked to people, a lot of people, and that's their decision, and that's my decision, and that's the people I've talked to. No, I haven't talked to 11,000 people. You're right.
And I'd
Well,
like
and
to
it's,
clear-
it's possible that we wouldn't get 11,000 people at a meeting, in an open meeting, to discuss this. But I've talked to several people, and most of the people that I've talked to think it's a great idea. And I guess I would just like to see it at a public meeting and have people actually talk and discuss and give their opinions, as opposed to just privately.
And I'd like to make one comment that an alderman told me another alderman told him that I try to fix a business person's ticket. They said it was a speeding ticket, and I called Chief Yellick up. The reason I called Chief Yellick was this person said the police department has been harassing him for years, and I called Chief Yellick up to find out what was going on. And Chief Yellick said, that person never got a ticket. It was a person leaving this person's business, and this person said they pulled that person over because they had been harassing him. And this alderman said that I tried to get this person off a ticket, which I never did. I would never do that. People spreading rumors about me with this issue up, that's a reason to get rid of the mayor, because he could do this. I talked to Noah then, and I said, what is the best way of going with this? And he said, just tell that person, if they're not satisfied talking to the police department, they can go to the Police and Fire Commission and have a formal complaint. And that's all the farther that went. I never tried to fix anybody's ticket, but somebody's saying that I tried to fix a ticket to make me look bad. And I resent that, I'll tell you that much. No, I'm not gonna, but
Because it's an unfounded,
Mike, I'm not gonna,
telling a story.
at the last meeting, what did you say? When Tom said something, a person's name, you said you shouldn't be doing that.
You're right, you shouldn't be doing that.
This person told me that.
You're making an allegation to somebody on the council. I think the council
Sorry about that, but I'm telling you, this is what I was told. And that's where I'm leaving. I'm just saying, my credibility was impugned, and I don't like it. That's all I'm saying is somebody made that comment that I tried to fix somebody's ticket.
based on a rumor.
Yeah, some,
You don't know that, do you?
just telling you, this alderman told me that, and if you saying I'm making this up, fine, but I just making that statement right now, Mike, and that, I'm leaving it right there. I'm just telling you what happened, what this alderman told me, and that's where it's lying.
Well, I think it's interesting.
I'm just telling you a fact, Mike, I'm telling you a fact of somebody's,
You're telling
I'm
me
making
about
a
rumor you
statement
heard.
that
You're telling
somebody,
me about a rumor you heard. Let's just leave it at that, okay? You're not saying anything. Right?
Mike, you can say anything you want.
Well, just like you can.
Okay, I'm lying. Thank you, Mike.
I didn't say you were lying.
Okay,
Now you're getting all worked up.
okay,
This
I'm
is-
spreading rumors about myself. Okay, thank you.
Alderman Kittle, you brought up the fact that the system has never been an issue. And I said to you at the work session, I'll challenge you on this point right here. You say the public elects a mayor. What percentage of the public that voted in the last mayoral election understands what this mayor's or the last mayor's or the mayors before that really what their philosophy specifically about governing is?
Well, they
You
had
don't
it,
need to read into that, by the way. I'm just asking you that understands.
11,000 people were available and had the opportunity to go to a debate from the mayor to the mayor when Fred ran against Jim. They had an opportunity to ask questions, do anything they wanted.
And did you listen to that?
Did.
Okay.
I was there.
And you had a hard sense of exactly what each person completely stood for.
I had the opportunity to go and I went.
Right, but I'm saying you got a hard sense from that, because nobody got a hard sense from what it is. I'm gonna throw this out there. People are complaining about what's happening in Washington.
Should be.
An administration that feels one way really strongly, now you have a different administration comes in and it's like, we're gonna do things a different way. People are really frustrated with that. It's the same effect with a very different than what the direction of the city.
I just believe there's safeguards in place for those kind of attitudes and those kind of people that will want to control the police department, want to control the fire department because they think they're in charge of the fire department. We have an ethics board, we have a city council, and we have the Police and Fire Commission, which does all the hiring and all the firing. We have 3 different bodies before a mayor, whoever you want to call, gets involved in trying to take over the police department. I just don't think it's necessary.
What's the issue?
I made my motion.
Yeah, and I think we're getting into some personal things here. I just really feel like it's important to involve the public when we're making these changes. And so I'm gonna say that I'm in favor of having an open meeting in a few weeks here to ask the public what they would like to do.
I've made my motion, and it's been seconded. Yeah.
Any further
Okay.
discussion? Not take the roll, please.
Alderman Vries,
No.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert, Alderman Montello, Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
3-3, the mayor breaks the vote with a yes. Tie with a yes. Form of government. Next item is new business. 2024 auditors report to the council.
Can you hear me okay? Is that good? All right. I'm Amanda Mboga. I'm the manager on the city's audit, and I'm here today to go over the 2024 audit results. We did issue 2 reports as part of the audit. We have the financial statements themselves, and then a reporting and insights document, which is largely required communications, things that we have to let you know about as part of the audit process. So I'm going to focus today on the governmental funds specifically because we do have a separate presentation with the Utility Commission for the utility funds. So just want to point that out. We'll go over the independent auditors report as well as some financial highlights. Last year we also had a report on federal and state awards to cover, but you all were underneath the threshold for that this year, so we did not have to do that separate audit. Okay, for the independent auditors report, the city did receive an unmodified, or what we sometimes call a clean opinion. So that's the highest level of opinion that you can get from an audit. And that indicates that we believe the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. Management's responsibilities are the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, as well as the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls. They also have to do an evaluation to see if there are any events or conditions that exist that could raise concern about the city's ability to continue into the future. Auditor's responsibility. We're required to express opinions on the financial statement based on our audit. We are required to plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of misstatement. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it's not absolute. So as we always say, we don't look at every transaction that flows through the city. We rely a lot on scoping and sampling, analytics, and that sort of thing. Misstatements are considered material if there's a substantial likelihood that they would impact the judgment of a reasonable reader of the financial statements. And procedures selected depend on auditor's judgment, including risk assessment procedures and our understanding of internal controls at the city. On the next slide, all right, the more exciting part, financial highlights. We'll start with the general fund balance. So the top line here in black is 2023, and then 24 is in blue below. And you can see in the top 2 bars there that there was a substantial increase in fund balance from 23 to 24. So you had a significant net income for the year in the general fund. The majority of that is in the unassigned category. So unassigned is just available for your general operations, for cash flow and contingency purposes. Assigned fund balance would be your internal designations. And that would include like budget carryovers and amounts that are designated in the 2025 budget as well for use of fund balance. And then non-spendable is the smallest category. That would include things that are either not in spendable form, like a prepaid kind of thing, or things that will eventually be converted into cash, but not for so long into the future that you don't want to count those right now as available resources. So that category is the only one that went down this year, and that was primarily due to the $150,000 advance to the CDA, which was repaid this year, so it came out of that non-spendable category. On the next slide, we have a summarized income statement, so you can see how we got that increase in fund balance. The revenues and other financing sources for the year were about 10.8 million. The expenditures and other financing uses were about 9 million. So your overall positive change in fund balance or your net income for the year is about 1.8 million. Compare that to your final budget, which budgeted for a small use of fund balance, about 69,000. So both the revenues and expenses contributed to a positive variance, but the majority of it is actually in the revenue side. And the biggest portion of that was about 666,000 in transfers in, so transfers from other funds to the general fund. Largely capital and capital replacement, but also the TIF number 6, TIF district number 6 closing resulted in about 114,000 coming into the general fund. The second biggest category in the revenues was the investment income. So we continue to see good interest rates, good returns on those, contributing to positive budget results. That was about a 307,000 positive variance over budget. Smaller numbers on the expenditure side. One of the larger ones, I guess, is the leisure activities category. That was about 154,000 to the positive on budget. And I would say both parks and library kind of contributed equally to that. The bottom part has the fund balance categories, which I already covered, so we can go to the next slide. And this is looking at fund balance trends. So this is probably the key indicator for financial health in a general fund. Looking at your unrestricted fund balance, which would be your unassigned and assigned categories, and comparing that to either revenues or expenditures. So we've done revenues in this case. When you do that calculation for 2024, if you follow the blue line, which is your actual over the years, you get the 57.9%. So what that means is that in theory, in very simplified terms, in theory you could operate the general fund for 57.9% of a year without generating any new revenues, just drawing down on those reserves.
So where do we fit in with other cities, let's say our size or even other cities? Is this really good?
It's a good number. You can see it's up significantly from last year. The black dots that we have plotted on there individually, that's our own internal Baker Tilly information. So for similar sized governments where they have been over the past 4 years. Now, we don't have that information yet for 2024, but we'll add it next year when it's available. So you've been kind of above that median average in this year, going even further above that. The other, I guess, benchmark that we use is the Government Finance Officers Association. And so that's the red line that you see plotted on that. Now theirs is like a minimum though. That's kind of bare bones minimum where you don't want to go below that line. So for all years presented, you've been pretty significantly over that. So it looks good. It's not, it's a good increase over last year, but you haven't been out of line with where the other municipalities of your size have been. Sense. And there is really no recommended maximum either, I will say that. Some governments might have an internal policy on kind of where they'd like to sit, but in terms of benchmarks, there really isn't a maximum guideline.
Is there ever too much that, because then you're taxing the.
If I could just interject a little bit on that
Yep.
too, Amanda. In 2022, the council will recall that we adopted an internal fund balance policy at which it looks at two aspects of fund balance that's based upon Moody's credit rating authorization. And so while this is certainly an important aspect of the ratio that we look at, this is only one of the two ratios that we do look at. The second ratio looks at kind of the cumulative governmental fund position. And as you'll recall as well, when we initially set some of those benchmarks that following year, we had a call with Moody's And we actually increased this ratio from a minimum of 50% to 60% because of their guidance in that. So we still are certainly, I think, in a good position from our fund balance policy perspective side of things. We haven't met all of our targets yet that are underneath that fund balance policy too.
Like to be
So-
around 60% if we could.
Correct, on the one, and then on the other one, we still have about, I think about 4 percentage points to go as well, kind of those goals.
Well, but there should be a maximum. I mean, the taxpayers are eventually gonna say, well, what are you doing with all my money? And you're
So-
charging me more money every year and no more fees. So you gotta keep an eye on,
Yep, and
On
underneath the
both.
fund balance, so what ends up triggering underneath our policy, once we kind of reach both of those goals, then if we would have surplus funds above those are then, we have priorities of how those funds would be utilized. So the first priority would be looking at capital investment, so it would reduce any debt, future debt that we would take out, and then we have incremental other priorities, the lowest priority being that fund balance would cover any type of operational or maintenance type of expense. So the goal of that funds is certainly if we have excess that we feel could be better used, we would look at first debt to reduce any future debt.
Question? Okay, I think we can go to the next one. Okay, yes, speaking of debt, general obligation debt. So this is limited under state statutes, 5% of your equalized value. So we have the legal debt limit in the black line, and then your actual debt issued as of year end in the blue line below. So you can see there's quite a gap between the two, which means you have plenty of legal capacity to issue new GO debt should you need to. You're only using 29% of your capacity currently. The bottom section there in the table shows how we calculated the outstanding debt. So the majority of it is in the city or the governmental funds. But utilities also have a pretty good chunk of that. So about 9.2 million is in the utility funds. We've subtracted off the fund balance in the debt service fund, since that would be available to use if you wanted to pay down any further debt issues. And then worth noting too that you do have another type of debt, which is the revenue debt. So that's not included in the table here because it's not subject to the limit. But you do have about 5 million in the utility funds for revenue debt. And that has its own restrictions, kind of requirements under those individual bond documents for restricted cash and debt coverage and all that good stuff.
these are 2023 numbers,
These are 2024.
24.
Yes,
So the library is nothing to do with this yet.
correct.
It's not on there yet. And the library, because that's a CDA issuance, it will be listed as a separate line item, but it doesn't count against the city.
On the next slide, so this is looking at kind of how debt heavy the city is. So it's one thing to have capacity to issue debt, but you probably wouldn't actually want to go to that maximum legal capacity. So looking at your debt service costs compared to your non-capital expenditures overall in your governmental funds, we exclude the capital just because those vary so much, it would be hard to get a good trend over time with those in there. So when we do that calculation, you have principal and interest of about 1.4 million and the non-capital expenditures of 12.8 or so. When we do that calculation, we get 11.1%. And that is down from previous years. Again, if you see the blue line for your actual results over the past 5 years. Now, in this case, the lower percentages are good. So you want to be on the lower end. The red line for the kind of benchmark on here is a recommended maximum, the bond rating agency's recommended maximum. So you had been kind of hovering just above that, and then for 2024, you were able to come down below that. And what did help that this year is that the TIF District number 8 debt had been paid off in 23 early. So you didn't have those principal and interest costs this year in the 2024 debt service. Again, we have kind of, from our own internal data, we have the individual black dots on here, which are the median percentages for similar sized governments. And then also just for comparative purposes, we also have the high percentage on here. So those are the X's closer to the top. So that gives you an idea kind of even between the median and the high, how big of a range there is amongst governments in this area. So overall, very good results for the year. There's no concerns, anything in the trends or the benchmarks. Good results overall for the year. On the next slide, definitely do want to say thank you to the city staff in preparing for us. I know it's a large time commitment to close out the year and get everything prepared for us. We're able to do kind of a mixture of on-site and remote work. They're very good about uploading information for us on our portal, so that helps us get through things and get the information out. So very much appreciated. And that is what I had for prepared content, but I'm happy to take questions if anyone has.
I want to thank our staff because I know they put a lot of work into it. It doesn't happen overnight. And I know there's a lot of hours put into it, and it makes your job easier then too, I'm assuming, when
Absolutely.
with a good staff. Any questions at all? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like a good report.
It is.
Next item is preliminary plat application, Cattail Villas.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Tonight before you, we have St. Croix Homes who submitted a preliminary plat application for a new development to be known as Cattail Villas. It is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of Ponderosa Lane and West Richmond Way. The new proposed development will consist of 10 twin home lots, and it will be accessed by a private drive off of Ponderosa. It does happen to be in the Evergreen Valley PUD or planned unit development. There are 2 large lots left in that development, and you will see coming before the Plan Commission and the City Council a repeal of that planned unit development. It's really not needed. It was done years ago. The restrictions are stronger than our current underlying zoning. So you'll see that coming through as a repeal. So for this preliminary plat, we've used the underlying zoning of Z2. The process for a preliminary plat application is that we had a public hearing at the Plan Commission meeting on July 8th, and we come to you for approval, and then the applicants will apply for a final plat application, go through the rest of our concerns, and then we bring it back to the City Council for final approval. When looking at the comprehensive plan and the zoning, this preliminary plat falls in well with those regulations. It also is within a wellhead protection district, but twin homes are allowed in a wellhead protection district as they do not pose a threat to our water supply system. Surrounding uses, if you look to the north, you'll have a stormwater pond, and then you'll have Evergreen Valley, kind of phase 1. Across the street are a couple of open lots, and then Evergreen Valley phase 2 and 3. If you look to the east, we have that undeveloped piece of property, and to the west, we have County Road A and then Gloverdale, okay? When we look at a preliminary plat, we're looking at the lot sizes, we're looking at some setbacks and all of those things. They currently will fit into our ordinance. However, there are a number of conditions that we put on the preliminary plat. At this point, I believe we have 35 conditions. That's fairly normal for a preliminary plat because they're not kind of working their way through it yet. We will address all of those concerns before the final plat comes. The Plan Commission did approve the preliminary plat at their meeting, and staff recommends approval.
Most of those conditions probably are taken care of already.
We have some of them, but not all of them. There's been a few that's been taken care of, but we will work with the group. They have not applied yet for the final plat. So we'll work with them. Dan is here to answer any questions. He is the engineer on the Cattail Villas project.
No.
We did have a controversy at the Plan Commission about the pickleball court. It is not open to the public. It is just for this development. Obviously, it's coming off of a private drive, so.
Could charge a fee. Any questions on this at all from anybody? Not, do you hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the preliminary plat for Cattail Villas.
The
With the
32
35 or
35
30,
conditions.
35 conditions.
Second.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert, Alderman Montello, Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item, conditional use permit application, Liberty Villas.
Okay. AEM Construction, on behalf of Wilson Properties Group, submitted 2 separate applications for conditional use permits. Along with the conditional use permits, they also had to apply for 2 site plan applications. The way that this is processed is a little bit different. The conditional use permits and site plans used to stop at Plan Commission. Now the conditional use permit comes to City Council for final approval. In your packet, I did put both the information for the conditional use permits and the site plan. So if there's question on site plan, please feel free to ask, but I'm just gonna go through the conditional use permit. It's super simple. They have 2 lots. It's up between Liberty and Industrial. They have 2 lots, and their conditional use permit is for 1 lot has 2 buildings on it, and the second lot has 2 buildings. So really, it's for more than 1 principal building on a lot. So 2 conditional use permits, that's what's up for approval for you guys. There was no conditions listed, and it was approved by the City Plan Commission and by city staff. But if you want me to go through the site plan or any of the things that come along with that, please feel free to ask those questions. It was approved at the Plan Commission. They did have 41 conditions at Plan Commission time for the site plan. It has already been reduced down to 13 conditions. So we'll be working with Alex and his group to finish off those 13 conditions.
Move to approve with the 13 conditions.
Nope, just the CUP,
Oh,
conditional use permits, 2 of them.
Second.
Take the roll.
Still writing the motion. All right, here we go. Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert, Alderman Montello, Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Passes. Any communication miscellaneous, Michelle?
I'm still writing the motion.
You want me to start, Michelle?
Yes.
I'd just like to thank all the staff and especially the police department, the sheriff's department, Wisconsin State Patrol that helped us with the parade. You know, some of these big events we just can't do alone, and we appreciate the outside assistance. So a thank you to St. Croix County Sheriff's Department, Wisconsin State Patrol, and certainly my staff. They went above and beyond this weekend.
Just quickly, I would like to introduce Alex Miller. He's somewhat new to our community for building. He's doing Liberty Drive projects. He has worked previously in New Richmond a couple of places, but most recently on the New Richmond storage condo or storage units on the kind of across the street.
Oh, I got nothing. Just that
Your
it's real
motion
nice to
go
be here with all of
into
you.
closed session.
So move.
Second.
Take the roll, please.
Alderman Volkert, Alderman Montello, Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner.
Yes.
We're in closed session.